Yo guys, we cannot get this call started until it's maxed out. Only 170 people on this call. We got a Zoom link to fit 1,000 people because we know the amount of value that's about to be dropped. And I know myself, I haven't sent a reminder in all the group chats that we're about to get started. Why? Because that's what you guys should do now. To get that energy up, hype it up, show that energy in the group chats. No, not in the Zoom chat. The reason why I haven't sent it there is because I haven't removed everyone from there who hasn't got their IDs. But if you want to send it there, you can go ahead. Alright? So guys, let's not drop that fire in this group chat, in this Zoom chat. Go back to your group chats, go back to wherever you got this link, spam that group chat, get everyone on this call. I do not think that I should be able to bring up Jenna and Zach unless we got this call maxed out. I don't know about you guys, but the group chats that I'm in, I can't see no energy. I can't see no fire being dropped. Come on, spam this link everywhere in your team group chats. Yo, come on guys. I'm not getting this call started until we've got at least 500 people on. The attendance here is terrible. Like, Jenna and Zach actually had asked me who should we do this call for. I said, let's do it for the whole of IM, but mainly for Traders Empire because we are gonna max out the call. But I don't see no call getting maxed out here. Come on guys. Don't embarrass me, yeah? Only 300 people on this call. We are not getting started until there are 500 people on. Go spam the link in your group chats. I've said that enough times now. So, it's the last time I'm saying it and then we'll get started. I'm sure you all can hear my phone getting spammed, my keyboard when I type. Alright guys, let's keep the chat box let's keep it behaved in the chat box and let's not spam it with nonsense, otherwise I will have to close off the chat box. Always, you don't think they're ready, bro? I know they're not ready. I know they're not ready for this sauce that's about to be dropped, man. Imagine we got Zach McDonald, my favorite educator, on Go Live, and we've got Jenna, Trade House's best educator and Trade House's best mentor on a call. And where you all at, man? those of you who are asking for the recording, I'm not sure if I will publish the recording, but if I do, then I will let you guys know. It's also up to Jenna and Zach. It's not just my Zoom call. Alright, nearly 350 people on this call. Zach and Jenna, do you think that we should get started? And what I want you guys to understand is that these educators and these mentors, they are from Australia. The time there is so early in the morning that Zach just told me. He goes, I've just woken up, so we'll see the the kind of sacrifice that they are making to provide value to you guys. They don't even need to be here to educate us, but they are actually coming on to teach us, to drop some value. So guys, show some love, show some appreciation in the chat box for them. Are they even on the call themselves? Zach, I see you. Jenna, I see you guys. So please do raise your hand so it's easier for me to make you host. Alright guys, so the first individual who I'd like to bring up now, I hate to say this, but I've got my favorites. Yeah, I've got my favorites when it comes to Go Live, and my personal favorite educator himself is Zach McDonald, because he's the first person that I actually learned from. And after watching him live every single day, after hopping onto his live sessions, after seeing the way that he marks up his charts and seeing the way that he implements smart money concepts in onto his charts, that literally helped me have my breakthroughs. Now, of course, the breakthroughs have come from the How Do I Trade course from Go Live, especially by watching Zach McDonald himself. And yeah, so he will be dropping some nuggets on this call right now. Do appreciate the fact that he's just woken up because it's quite early in Australia. But let's see some fire in the chat. Let's show some love for Zach McDonald before I actually bring him up. I don't think you guys heard me. Spam that chat box. Drop some fire. Let's see this, man. Come on, come on. We need that energy. Because if Zach just woke up, he needs that energy so he can give the energy back. Let me ask to unmute. Zach, are you able to hear me?
Yo.
What's good? Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Guys, I do apologize very, very much. If I sound half asleep, it's because I'm half asleep. So let's just call out the elephant in the room. But appreciate everyone for jumping on. How many people are on here, Mohammed?
It's only 420. But these 420 are the serious ones.
420 was good, everybody. All right, let's see if we can make some magic happen. Where's this share screen? All right, cool. All right, so is everybody here in IM?
Yes, sir.
Amazing, amazing. All right, I'm just going to clear just one more thing up. Is Jenna there as well?
Yeah, she said, let me ask her to unmute as well. And guys, in the meantime, whilst waiting for him to get set up, drop it in the chat box where you're tuning in from. Let's see how worldwide we have actually gone on this call.
Yeah, where is everyone coming in from as well? All right, where's the, give me a second. I'm using a different setup as well, new computer, so everything's a little bit, okay. All right, you can see? Everyone can see my screen? Amazing.
Yeah, we can see it.
Cool. All right, sweet. Sweet. So yeah, as I said, I have just recently woken up. I had lack of preparation last night, and that's completely my fault. No excuses for it. But at the same time, doesn't mean that we have nothing to talk about. There's actually a fair bit to talk about. So in a nutshell, just quickly, guys, just put I don't know if I can see the chat on this computer. Put just put like a me in the chat if you guys are actually practicing smart money concepts. All right, where's the chat box? Okay, heaps of people. Okay, cool. Okay, amazing, amazing. All right, that makes this a heck of a lot easier. Okay, we can skip all the boring stuff and just get straight into it. So for me, I'm not really going to talk about Wyckoff on this call at the moment. I've been looking pretty much over the charts over the weekend, just doing my rituals. I don't really have a great deal in regards to, any sort of accumulation and distribution, setups or biases, so to speak. Okay, I'm pretty much just running through, pretty much running through, I guess, different setups in correlation with the current trend, with the current market structure. So that's more or less why I'm saying what I'm saying. And if we were to look at EuroCAD, for example, let me just get rid of, I've got all this stuff everywhere. Okay, so if I'm looking at EuroCAD, for example, we can see the structure of EuroCAD is more or less bearish on the 4-hour. Now I've done the top-down analysis on this and everything like that. I know Jen is going to come in and do some top-downs later on. All right, you can see more or less with my Picasso drawings right now that structure was broken right here. So we are no longer bullish, making higher lows. We are now bearish because we made a lower low that broke the previous higher low. We then followed that up with a lower high, and then that lower high will greet it with a last up candle before the down move. Now let's get rid of all of this. All right, so last up candle before the down move. This is on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, as I said, I've done the top down. Okay, if you're not too sure what top down is, I see a lot of people here, but they're pretty much getting into these concepts already. So most people should know what that is, but top-down analysis more or less is being able to understand the market on pretty much the major timeframes coming down to the lower time frame, so you can set yourself a bias that is in coordination with multiple confirmations. All right, so as we said, we broke structure over here. Why? We had a higher low, higher high, lower low. All right, so we broke structure right there. Market came up, made a lower high. It also produced a last up candle before the down move for us. So we can see, more or less we can see a sense of manipulation in here. I can't see that chat. If Mohammed, you could annotate and just answer some of those questions as well, that'd be great. All right, now one thing that I'm looking at with EuroCAD specifically is obviously the area that I keep marking up, which is more or less over there. But at the same time, it's not just because I see a last up candle before the down move. Let's be honest, we can see those everywhere, can't we? We can see one here, 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 we can see one here. You can see pretty much everywhere. And then you can see there's, the same things in the opposite direction. Last down candle before the up move, last down candle before the up move, last down candle before, market had gapped to the upside. Okay, so, if we were to just solely rely on a candle to tell us, a story and to give us a whole paragraph of information, it's not going to happen. We'll be waiting a long time for that to happen because it would never happen. We need multiple confirmations that go in regards to our current directional bias. If we don't have a current directional bias, do a top-down analysis to see if you can come up with one. Okay. All right. So on the 4-hour time frame, let me just get someone in the chat to tell me what I'm looking at right now. Okay, I've lost the chat already. Where's that gone? All right, so more or less, guys, this here is last up candle before the, buy to sell, order block, absolutely. Last up candle for the down move. Down move engulfed, Omar, 100%. Down move engulfed and left in balance. Okay, now most of the time when you've got a confirmed, let's say, when you've got a confirmed, let me get this chat out the way again. When you have a engulfing candle, and this is let's say for example, it's on the 4-hour time frame. When you've got an engulfing candle, you can see that something else is going on lower time frames. You've got a shift in direction. Okay, now let's just get straight into it. When you see an engulfing candle in a situation like this, most of the time you can see a breaker structure on lower time frames. Okay, so that breaker structure is on lower time frames. Now, if we were to go from the 4-hour, say, to the 30-minute, let's just do it real quick. Okay, we come back to now. All right, we can see, structure as it is. We can make a higher high, a higher low, a higher high, a higher low, a higher high, and then a lower low. Break structure right here. Okay, so that there is another thing that's, helping me in regards to a directional bias. And I do apologize if Jenna was going to look at EuroCAD. I know that she does trade this pair quite regularly. Okay, but in a nutshell, for me, obviously, if you've got an area where you're looking to get in, that's great. But if you don't have an area where you're looking to get out, then there's really no point in looking at this trade at all. So for me, I've got to understand where are my targets. And, everyone here seems like they're all veterans, so you'll know where the targets are equal lows, other institutional areas, other order blocks, other areas of imbalance. But, the elephant in the room right now is this equal lows over here for EuroCAD. Okay, we had, an FU type of move over here where we took liquidity from the previous lows and then market came up, made its previous, higher low over here and then equaling that low over here as well. All right, we ended up coming back up, making that lower high, last up candle before the down move engulfed, left imbalance in its wake and broke structure on the lower time frames. All right, so for me, okay, where's our, where's our area of interest? Like, can we actually pinpoint this area of interest, or are we just going to wing it with this big 4-hour candle here? Okay, because once you've got your target in mind and you understand where you have an opportunity to get out on a high probability basis, then you can kind of just go in further to break this area down, this area of interest down. Okay, to see what sort of price action is being offered, to see if you can get those those sniper entries, as they say. All right, so let's just go back down to the 30-minute time frame. We understand that there was an order block over here, last up for the down. Okay, that has not yet been mitigated out of. We still have money up here. There's still liquidity here. They haven't taken it out. This is right here at this imbalance here as well. True imbalance as well. If you go down to the 5-minute, I know I'm going very, very fast. I do apologize. Okay, imbalance there as well. All right, and it's our last up candle before the down move. Now, for me, yes, there's an areas of interest of here, and there's areas of interest here. All right, let me get this chat out of the way. Okay. Oops, sorry. Sorry, Mohammed. I was trying to do that. Okay. I was just having to remember where I was. Okay, so yeah, essentially for me on the 30-minute time frame, I'm looking at EuroCAD more or less coming into this vicinity here. Okay, I want to see how we go filling in this imbalance, and I want to see how we go coming into this institutional area over here. Okay, I know it does kind of seem like we're being mitigated out of this area here, but on the 30-minute, this is where that whole imbalance is more or less met. Okay, so this is more or less my area of interest. All right, I want to see more or less how we kind of come into trading to this area here. I'm going to have alerts over here as well, and I'm going to be reacting more or less off of price action after these alerts are going to pre-triggered. I dare say we're going to mitigate out of this sort of price action here as well. These two candles here. Okay, meaning this one here, I dare say we're going to get some sort of response from there. Nothing that I'm looking at taking, just some sort of response, based off of mitigation. And yeah, that's basically it. Once we can start to see, these start to get mitigated out of, I still will be waiting for price action to trade higher into an area where we can look at over here. Okay, so again, this is pretty much something where I'm going to be setting alerts and then reacting off of. Okay, Why did I choose that blue candle on the 13-minute? Reason I chose this candle here, let's just get rid of all my mess. Okay, reason I chose this candle here is because I'm pretty certain that this hasn't been mitigated out of completely yet. I'm pretty certain that there's still drawdown residing within here. This is balance here as well, which is throwing more, an extra confirmation at this area. So this here is my first area of interest. Okay, and on the 4-hour, all right, it's more or less at pretty much right at the open of this candle here. All right, that's Euro CAD. Okay, next one. Oops, what is this? Okay. Next one I'm going to be looking at is GBP CAD, and it's a similar situation, very, very similar situation. All right, so I'll just get rid of all of this. I'm going to get rid of this too. Okay, go to the 4-hour. All right, again, I've done top downs on these, I've understood structure, but at the same time, structure is a little bit, I'd say, skeptical on GCAD as it would be for, in regards to EuroCAD. All right, but if we'll do, just pretty much get a daily we can see structure is bearish. Why? Consistently making lower lows after low highs. Sorry, which consistently making lower highs after lower lows. All right, so run through this very, very quickly. And if you guys don't, if you don't study or practice structure, super, super important. Okay, engulfing candles, stuff like that, being able to understand structure on lower time frames. Okay, it just comes with practice. Right, there's no secret to it all. It's just, study. Okay, what seems like it's, it's second nature to some. For some people, it's still, taking them a little bit of time to grasp it all. So you can see here, market made a low, made a high, it then made a lower low, and a lower high, and then a lower low, and then a lower high. Structure is bearish. Okay, on, some, if we were to go down to up to the weekly, I'm doing this backwards, I do know that, I apologize. If we were to go from the weekly, okay, we don't really need to start all the way over there, just pretty much start over here. All right, go through it, let's do it together. Okay, market comes up, makes a high, makes a higher low, makes a higher high, makes a lower low, makes a lower high. Okay, we haven't made a lower low yet or anything like that. Okay, we just made that lower high. All right. Okay, so GBP CAD, back to the 4-hour, bearish on these other time frames, the higher time frames. On the 4-hour, all right, I can't see the chat. If you guys want to go ahead and try and, guess what type of, try and articulate what type of structure we're in. No guessing is allowed. Okay, structure is potentially bullish. All right. We had a lower high over here. We had a low over here. And then we made a higher high over here, potentially making a higher low. We don't know. Okay, we don't know. But we're bearish on the other time frames. Okay. All right. Over on the 4-hour, same situation. I'm looking at last up before the down. This whole thing for me is a point of interest. Okay, and it's not just because there's an up last up candle before the down move. It's not just because there's an engulfing candle. It's it's not because of any of that structure we're going against on these higher time frames. Okay, just give me a second. Yeah, sorry, I muted myself, but I couldn't unmute it. Okay, cool. So yeah, this last up candle here, okay, these series of candles here, probably took liquidity over here as well, area of interest. But it's all about, what is actually going on in these lower time frames. So if we were to see here, yes, so you got your last, let's just take that there, okay, last up candle there, all right. All the stuff that's going on that's on these lower time frames, I have no idea. Okay, I have no idea. So let's have a look. On the 30-minute time frame, what have we got? Last up candle. Okay, last up candle before the down move. Price came up. We didn't quite mitigate out of that completely yet. All right, and this is only on the 30-minute. Now when we get onto the trade onto the 5-minute, we're going to see different data. Okay, and it just gets a little bit more interesting as we go. All right, but understand these engulfing candles, they're not principal, okay? It just helps, okay? Higher low, higher high, higher low, lower high, lower low. Market break structure, pretty much right there. And if you wanted to call this your last point of structure, it's right there. All in all, market break structure, okay? And it's, as I said, it's only a guide, all right? It's only a guide. Don't just, just this is not the type of thing where you see a break structure just because you saw an engulfing candle. It's just like, yeah, cool, buy, yeah, cool, sell. Okay, we're here to get confluence trades, GPU entries based off of money. Okay, by asking ourselves where the money is. All right, and all this is just help us formulate and understand what their agenda is. Okay, so at the moment, if we were to base anything at the moment, our 30-minute would be here. Okay, last up for the down. We haven't got mitigation there completely yet. We may have mitigation on this wicks. Okay, let's go into replay mode. Come down to the 5-minute. 5-minute, again, different story. All right. All right, here's mine. There it is. Okay. Now notice how you've got, I just want to show you something really quickly because I feel like it's pretty cool. Can everyone hear me properly?
Yep, it's fine, bro.
Okay, cool. Yeah, awesome. So yeah, basically, okay. All right. Okay, where was I? All right, so basically, this last up, this candle here, all right, is my area of interest. We bought here, we stalled here, okay, meaning there's potentially some area of price action where we sold, all right, and then we sold here, and then we bought to sell here as well. We don't have, really the type of response that I'm looking for in regards to, manipulation areas over here, so I don't necessarily want to talk about that too much. Okay, but in this whole vicinity of this candle, because it is, relatively a short candle. It's a small volume candle. So I'm more or less, willing to focus pretty much over here to the open of this last up candle. Okay, which more or less, is within the area of this this last up candle on the down before the down move on the 5-minute. If that's making sense for everyone. Okay, just mitigation count when it's a wick. Mitigation does count when it's a wick, but at the same time, I guess we need to ask ourselves is like, is it being has it been fully mitigated out of, or is there another agenda there? Okay, can they come back up to the 50% as Jenna was saying? All right, which is a lot of the time a very very reasonable thing to ask yourself, because most of the time it does. And this is why a lot of people end up getting stopped out and take profit, stopped out at entry or stopped out at, break even, because certain situations like that tend to happen. But I'm not going to get into that. Okay, so more or less, GBP CAD, all right, area of interest, again, where's our target? Okay, where is our target? Now, we all know we can't go broke by taking profit, true? We cannot go broke by taking profit. But if we, it's obviously going to be a lot easier, mentally, especially while you're asleep, having this all happen, which majority of the time, if you're in Australia, you're asleep while this is all happening. It's a lot easier for you to have a target in mind, based off of confluence, not just based off of a pip count. Okay, for me, that's just silly. All right, but basically we want to ask ourselves, okay, where is an area we can see high probable for price to go into? Okay, now let's go through it all together. Take profit areas. You've got imbalance, okay, potentially 50% of imbalance, whole fill of imbalance, other institutional candles, okay, last up before the downs, last downs before the ups, equal lows, equal highs. All right, now can we see any of those on this chart right now? Okay, in order for us to be, going, I guess, in line with structure, which is bullish on the 4-hour time frame, okay, but bearish on the daily, bearish on the weekly. All right, now we still want to make sure that we're going within structure on the time frame that we're presuming our entry on, which is the 4-hour. Okay, so more or less, this is our, pretty much our allowance. You do have sets of equal lows over here. You've got imbalance over here again, and then on the daily, you've got an institutional candle here as well. Okay, that we probably will see some sort of, price action on. Okay, so would it make sense for me to go and target, let's go back to the 4-hour. Would it make sense to me for me to target area 1, area 2, or area 3? Okay, area 1 is 50% of imbalance. Area 2 is your institutional candle on the daily time frame. Area 3 is our, our more or less unequal equal lows. Okay, so support excuse for equal lows. All right, so let's go by this. Just pretty much go from 3 to 1. Okay, area 3. All right, it's not going to correlate too much if we actually, do get some sort of reaction based off of the institutional candle on the daily time frame. So it's probably, negates as to whether or not we should be even looking at this as a target. All right, so we can just discount this off. Okay, we don't need that. Area 2, it's our open on the daily, okay, from our last down candle for the up move. Okay, there is a sense as to whether or not we ask ourselves, has it been mitigated out of? Chances are it hasn't. Okay, and then we have 50% of imbalance on the 4-hour time frame. All right, so I'd say either one of these, I'm pretty confident that this would be a solid take profit areas. Okay. All right, so yeah, basically, more or less, this is my areas of interest and this is where I'm focusing on. Cool. Amazing. Amazing. All right. Now, and that was pretty much it. I had GBP CHF, but at the same time, it's not something that I really wanted to. As I said, guys, I'm still half asleep, so really don't really have anything else to talk about other than that. Okay. All right. Is that it, Mohammed? Is there any other questions?
Well, that's all really. Thank you so much for that. That honestly, those nuggets that you've just dropped are amazing, and it's not like this kind of information we can get anywhere else. So normally, I'm not sure if you muted yourself by accident. Okay, that's fine. Thank you so much for that, guys. Just show how much you appreciate that session. Like the amount of nuggets that have been dropped are crazy. Yes, yes, I see the chat blowing up. All right, guys. So it's normally on Zoom calls you see that a number of participants go down as the Zoom goes on. But what you can see over here is that when Zach started to wait, hold on a second. Let me just stop participant sharing. All right. So what you can see over here is that when Zach started to speak, there was about 350, no, about 400 people on the call. And now we've got about 550 people on this call. That just comes to show that the amount of value is being dropped and the appreciation. So without further ado, I'd like to bring up the next speaker. Now, once again, I don't really like to say that I've got favorites, but when it comes to the Trade House Mentors, my personal favorite is this next speaker. And Jenna herself is really an inspiration for me and many, many people globally because she is a single mother, and the impact that she's been able to make not only on her own life but just to show people that it's possible, and she also helps everyone else achieve the same as well. So truly a beast. Yep, you guys got it 100%. And without further ado, let me bring up Jenna. Jenna, I guess I'm gonna have to try and find you. Alright, let me... Okay, perfect, I got you. I've asked you to unmute.
Hello.
Hello, hello, good morning.
Everyone. Thanks for jumping on. Good morning, good evening, all that good stuff. Hope you're all well. All 544 of you. Like Zach, I couldn't stop laughing when Zach said I've just rolled out of bed because we literally have just rolled out of bed. So yeah, I'm happy to be here, super grateful to be here. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Let me know if you can, hold on, let me find the chat. You all can see my screen, yeah? My chart? Is that yes?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, cool. So just like following on from what Zach said about HeroCAD, I am looking at the same thing. This is my area of interest. I do have an alert set, basically similar, near the exact same area Zach was looking at. He dropped down to the 30-minute, and I just broke it down a bit more because I wanted to see what was going on in this price action here on the smaller timeframes, just to get an idea of, you know, where would be the area most high probable, you know, because for me personally, I didn't see us coming up here. You know, it can mitigate from here, but I just didn't see that happening. So when I moved to the 1 minute, this has my attention. You can see the last up candle before the down move, leaving a significant imbalance as well. So I just broke it down a little bit more for some more precision, and I've just set my alert at 1.53200 to look at executing in this area if price action permits. And this just allows me to reduce my risk significantly to about 11 pips. Sitting above this structure. Personally, if we come above here, there's nothing that has my attention in this area. So for me, like Zach was saying, if nothing happens in this area, I will no longer believe in this point of interest unless price action is showing us that it wants to go lower. So that's basically EuroCAD. And Zach was showing you these targets, these equal lows. They were some of mine. That obviously, and I have just marked out a potential area where we could see price get a bounce from for a potential short-term buy to create some more lower highs. But if you look at EuroCAD and zoom out, you can just see all the money. So, you know, this could potentially be the swing trade that we can wait on. I did call the sell from here. It was a beautiful sell-off. I'm not in the sell anymore. I took profit. It was about 200 pips. I did have this area marked out for a potential re-entry, but look, with I marked it out for reference, but we didn't have to come back up here, right? We didn't have to. It was in, you know, prime QQ area, but you have to understand with retracements, you know, anything above the 50% is considered the retracement. Okay, so we came in between 61 and 61.71. So when I saw this price action being made, this just confirmed the lower high. We were above the 50%. So this area is no longer of interest to me. Personally, I feel if we come back to this area, we could potentially look at going higher, depending on the reaction we get, just based off of this institutional candlestick that I did have marked out where I was anticipating this sell-off to come to before happening. But we missed it by, I think, 1 or 2 pips. We didn't miss the trade, but that institutional candle. So if I was to go over this area, you can see the last up candle before the down move, and we've still got some imbalance there. Now you have to understand that this whole area is considered the institutional area. So when people are like, oh, my limit didn't get set or triggered and things like that, you have to understand that this whole area, like my whole box, is an institutional area. It doesn't have to come to this opening just because you have a markup there. And I'm always saying that to people, and that's how a lot of people didn't get in this trade, and they also weren't watching for the re-entry, which you should always be doing, especially when it's in a point of interest. On top of that, though, guys, I always explain to you that if you've got a point of interest marked out, right, say the opening and 50% of an institutional candlestick, we're just going to use this as a hypothetical, right? Say, for instance, you have your limit at the 50%, right? But price is in this area, okay? Bouncing around, you know, doing its thing, you know, maybe just giving you a little bit of consolidation in this area on the smaller time frames. But your limit's at the 50%. If you're not confident that you're going to get that spike up to get triggered, why aren't you executing? Is my question. Because I hear so many people, you know, say, oh, I missed a trade, my limit didn't get triggered, things like that. I was watching it, I should have just executed. My question is to you, why not? Why didn't you execute? You've got a limit there. Just because you've got a limit there doesn't mean market has to come to that price, all right? The whole area is a valid point of interest. If it's in your area and you're not confident that it's going to get triggered, why aren't you market executing and adjusting your stop loss and risk? It's that simple. It's in your point of interest. So you really need to ask yourself that. Now, I'm not sitting here saying when it gets to a point of interest, just execute. I'm saying if you've chosen to already set a limit and enter in that point of interest, what's stopping you from executing the trade? If you've chosen not to have any limits in and you want to wait for price to get there and see smaller time frame breaks of structure, do that. That's a different story. But I'm talking about the people that have already decided and, you know, followed their trading plan to have a limit in, and they're just watching price go without them from their point of interest because it didn't hit their limit or 50%. So that's a question you can be asking yourselves as to why you're not executing, because it is in your point of interest. So what more do you want? You had chosen to set a limit. So there's no difference between setting a limit and market executing when you're in that POI. You may need to adjust your stop loss a few pips and risk management accordingly. So I just wanted to clear that up because I hear that all the time. And like I said, if you do miss your entry for whatever reason, which does happen, you will get a re-entry. Like I'm yet to see no re-entries happen personally, unless, you know, it's like gold or something. But even then, I just want to show you what happened. So this was where I wanted to get in, right? Now I was actually educating at the time, so I couldn't just execute. Probably should have just sped it up a bit more, but my bad. My bad. We're just going to have some patience is what we'll have to have. So obviously when I saw these equal highs, they were my target, and this is where I wanted to sell from, because based off the daily, right, this is bearish in my opinion. My bad, guys, didn't mean to take it this far back. So we can see this is my point of interest, equal highs. All right. No. Okay, so you can see I had my limit at the opening and I didn't get triggered, right? So this was just a re-entry that I marked out for the move. So let's just get rid of this for now so we don't get confused, okay? So let's see this. So say for instance, you had your limit at the opening like myself, and you came to the charts and you saw this. Most people would be like, oh my God, I've missed the trade. Absolutely not. This is like this is what you want to see. 5-minute structure break, 15-minute structure break, right? This is ideal. So this is what told me we're not coming back up here. They don't want this area. They reacted off the imbalance, which is still within the institutional candles that I showed you going up, right? So when I saw this, I was literally like, hell yeah. Because I went over EuroCAD in depth on my trade call, and I was telling people, you know, look out for those re-entries, right? So if you were sitting on the charts and you were watching this and you missed it, whatever, you could have caught your re-entry here. Last up candle before the down move, breaking structure, coming back up, right? I didn't catch this one. I caught this one. This was, for those that couldn't identify this, should have been able to identify this. This was screaming at you to sell. Like there's no other lower risk, high reward trade, in my opinion, that you could come across personally for this trade. Considering we were trying to sell. Well, I was trying to sell from there, right? Watch. So you got the last up candle before the down move breaking this structure, remember? And we also broke 5-minute and 15. High, low, high, 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 low, high, high. Broke structure, right? This was your pew entry. Never came back. And this is what we mean by, especially you are playing on the smaller time frames from the opening, don't be quick to move your stop loss to break even if you're playing on the smaller time frames, because 9 times out of 10 they do bounce around the opening and come for the 50% before taking off. So don't be too quick to move yourself to break even. You could have had a 5 pip stop loss and been good. If you wanted to take it up here above this structure, you could have done an 8 pip stop loss. The risk to reward was there regardless, but you can see it was just a beautiful trade. Like this, you know, from this to this, you couldn't ask for more. You couldn't ask for more. So, you know, if I stop the replay, right, you can see that was where we sold from, which went on for 215 pips and created equal lows, right? So that was that sell. So again, I'm not going to go over too much in depth of what Zach just said because I'm looking at the same area. I just showed you where I was breaking it down. So yeah, just a waiting game now. And like Zach was saying, on as far as structure is concerned, especially on the 4 hour, it's a lot easier to see being bearish. The daily as well, again, structure is one of those things, you know, that does take time. If you're looking at this range, this low and this high, you could consider this area here a lower high, right? The reason why this area here has had my attention for quite some time is because we never came above it. Like, no matter how hard we tried, we didn't. So this to me was a lower high in this range, right? And don't get me wrong, you can look within this range and whatnot. You can see this high, this lower high, all of that stuff. But this was the last real push up we got, and price just failed every time to get above this high. So, and when I asked myself the 4 Ws, my 4 Ws, where's the money? Here. Where is smart money in drawdown? Well, we know that on the smaller time frames, right? I showed you. Okay, smart money was also in drawdown here, in this candlestick. And remember, in this candlestick here. Okay, what is their agenda? Higher time frame bias. I'm bearish on EuroCAD, especially based off price action as well, and just the way we're ranging in a sideways motion. It just doesn't make sense. Like, to me, there's just no indication of us. We're just exhausted. Like, even just looking at the weekly, we don't have any type of full, you know, price action to go off, so to speak. And if I'm doing a fib just in this range, we are in a logical area to see a sell-off. So, you know, I have that in mind. There's just lots of confluence that I look at to just make sense for myself. And again, this is my bias. But yeah, so I just wanted to show you that as well. And just remember that you can get price trading up into this area and it can wick down and still close below and make lower highs like it did. So don't be fooled, you know, when you have a point of interest that might be a bit higher and above some bodies. It can do this very easily. Wick up and come back down, and we still made a lower high within this range. So don't be fooled. So yeah, that's EuroCAD. So definitely bearish on that. So just waiting for an entry. And what else was I going to go over? Similar thing for Euro GBP. This was an area I was looking at for a potential re-entry. We've got lots of liquidity to the downside as well. So I am just waiting on that. And the daily as well, what I've done is mark out the opening and 50% of the last up candle before the down move. We did engulf on the daily as well. And if you want to look at this structure here, we did break this structure. So I do have that in mind. And again, you've got this low, you've got this high. This to me is the lower high. Just looking at it. We could have considered this technically a higher low, but again, putting things into perspective with what's going on, especially, you know, I don't know for those, if many of you are on my call, but I have been going over this whole area for quite some time, that this to me is distribution, you know, buying climax, automatic reaction, secondary test, sign of weakness, all of that good stuff, you know, excuse me if it's not perfect, but Wyckoff isn't perfect. Okay, so you just kind of need to eyeball it and get an understanding. We also took out liquidity as well. So to me, again, where's the money? Here, here, here. Where are they in drawdown? Here. Like if we're looking at the monthly, like it's just, this to me is just distribution. This is the up thrust. You could even consider this, again, this is the monthly, the up thrust and the UTAD. We did come behind, we just come above this high. And they are relatively equal as well. So it was just double, you know, just things that I'm just taking into account and being open-minded with. Again, if that doesn't make sense to you, it's okay. It will. And I just want to stress to you guys, I have this conversation with Zach all the time about Wyckoff. I think a lot of people get really hell-bent on Wyckoff. and having to see it in everything they trade, and that's just not the case. Sometimes it won't be there. Sometimes it won't be there. Wyckoff isn't, how do I put this? Wyckoff isn't used, well, for me personally, I'm assuming I can speak for Zach also, Wyckoff isn't used as a confirmation to enter a trade, right? I don't know if other people do, they may. Personally, I don't use Wyckoff as a confirmation on my checklist to enter a trade. If it's there, it's there. If I can identify it, awesome. But I don't use it as like a confirmation, okay, we're in accumulation, so I'm just going to buy it. No. If anything, the most times that I identify Wyckoff and can see it is on the smaller time frames around entries. So if you're looking to buy and sell, you can actually go back and backtest this. If you're looking to say, go and find a point of interest that you might have traded, right? And just go and look at the smaller timeframes and see if you can identify accumulation and distribution around those areas, whether you're buying and selling. And you might surprise yourself with what you find. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Don't get so caught up on Wyckoff. And my dog Romeo is having a heart attack because he can hear me talking and he's outside. So yeah, that's Euro GBP. I'm just waiting. So again, this was the daily opening of 50%. So I have that in mind. I do see us coming up into this area versus this area personally. If this is going to be the quote unquote bottom, so to speak, it would make sense for the retracement to come up here. I personally won't be looking at this area too much. We may get a little reaction, but that won't be enough of a retracement for me personally. So for Euro USD, I can't remember what I had marked out. This is from last week. Where was I at? Okay, so Euro USD, we've got these equal lows here. Obviously, they're a target and these equal highs. We are in an interesting area for Euro USD and range, especially considering the dollar. This is the thing. I want to stress to you guys this. I could analyze this right now and have a bias, and in an hour, 5 hours time, my bias could change, right? Because things change. Market conditions change. You need to be able to adapt to market conditions and not marry a bias, right? You need to do that. All right. So when things change, I adapt. I'm not going to trade something that I want to happen. I'm going to trade what I see. Okay. It's that simple, whether someone else sees it or not. Okay. Question, is Wyckoff more like an extra confirmation? Yeah. Wyckoff is an extra confirmation. 100%. 100%. No, I can't speak. I can only speak for myself. And I know because Zach and I talk about this all the time, but, it is an extra confirmation. You just heard Zach come on and say, I don't have any Wyckoff to go over because nothing's really present on my radar at the moment. Nothing's really standing out to me. That doesn't mean you can't trade. That doesn't mean if you use Wyckoff as a confirmation, you'd be rarely trading in my opinion. And if you are, personally, I think you're guessing. You're guessing Wyckoff. Because it's not, for me, just my opinion, it's not the be all and end all. It's just great to identify. Some may argue that that's the biggest confirmation they have. For me personally, it's not. And like I said, either for Zach. Zach might even touch on this again when I'm done, but he might have a better way of explaining it. But that's probably one of my biggest breakthroughs that I had, because in the beginning when I was learning smart money concepts, right, I was so hell-bent on trying to identify Wyckoff that I never traded. And I could never understand how people were getting into buys and sells when I'm like, well, where's the spring? Well, where's the U-tab? I don't even see the upthrust. Like, how are they doing this? And it's because they're not looking for Wyckoff in everything. If they identify it and it's there, cool. If it's not, no biggie. So now, again, don't get me wrong. Wyckoff is how the markets move in phases. It's a real thing, but it's not something that you have to have on an intraday level or even like a swing level, so to speak, to be able to enter a trade. So chill out. So with that being said, we're in an interesting spot for Euro USD because you can see we have been bullish for quite some time, right? And if we're looking in this range, you know, this high, this low, again, this range, right? Not this structure range. We could consider this a lower high, considering we didn't come above this, right? But if we want to look with structure within structure, we have been bullish until now, right? You can see just eyeballing this, we've made this high, this lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and we've been ranging sideways. We haven't pushed past this. So, you know what, at present, me personally, I am still bearish on Euro USD. Based off of what's going on here. That could change. It is only Monday, my friends, and the markets have just woken up, right? Just based off what we're seeing here, like you can see lower high, lower low, lower high. We haven't yet to make a lower low, but for me, if we don't push above this high or close above this high on the daily, I'm bearish. That's me personally. And like I said before, we can get a spike up and still close below this high. Don't be fooled. Okay, so it's always good to make sure you're looking at structure on the line graph because wicks can distract you. Wicks can distract you. And we do have a target up here. So I am just conscious of that too. With that being said though, based off what we're seeing on the 4 hour, this structure here has held for quite some time. This low, so I have noticed that. So I am watching that. This area here is where I was looking at where we could see a reaction to take these equal lows. So personally, at the moment, it's just waiting for me to see what price is going to do. It really is. That's all it is. There's nothing we can do with this right now. I just don't see these being the target personally, based off what we're doing on the smaller time frames. Again, that could change, you know, we could spike up even better because then we know if they do a liquidity run on these and close below on that daily, we win this. Look for a sell in my opinion, because all the liquidity is to the downside. So yeah, Euro USD. And with what the dollar's doing, I've had this area marked out for quite some time of where I can see the dollar cutting to. And again, just with the structure on the dollar, we've got relatively equal highs here. We've maintained this low as well. Oh my God, Romeo, you need to chill out. We've maintained this low as well. So I can see us potentially mitigating from this area to continue going up. And on the daily, the thing that was I was speaking about was this institutional candlestick. We got the last down candle prior to the up move. Now, granted, we didn't break above this high, which I am aware of. We still closed, right? We still closed below. But just based off what we're doing here, I just have more of a hunch that we're going to be trading higher. Personally, at the moment, that's what I'm seeing. Again, things could change. Please learn to adapt to the markets and not marry a bias. What are your thoughts on gold using Fibonacci retracement? Well, Fibonacci retracement is Fibonacci retracement. I'm not sure what that means. If you know how to use Fibonacci, use it. It's the same as long as you're measuring it right. I haven't heard any different. So that's Euro USD. GU's been pretty ugly, to be honest, as of late. I haven't really been liking GU price action personally. Yeah, I prefer EU over GU personally. Yeah, that's just personal preference. This area, like last down candle prior to the up move, this is where they're in drawdown. So if there is a potential sell that we can catch, which would make sense if EU is going to sell off too. GU will in its own, time. They don't move. They correlate, but they don't move exactly the same. So this would be my first take profit area. Similar for what I was waiting for AUD USD. Last down counter prior to the up move, we took out liquidity. So I've marked out the opening 50% and missing once. My targets for AU are these equal highs. But we've also got equal lows down here. So if EU is going to sell off, AU will eventually follow, in my opinion. It's just against the dollar. So it will come in its own time. But that's all I've got really. Yeah, and for CAD JPY, last up counter before the down move, I have been waiting on this area for a potential sell. And you can see on the 4 hour as well, last up counter before the down move. We did engulf this, however, we didn't break structure, which is my only annoyance. But we are still in drawdown here. Last down counter prior to the up move. We have not mitigated from this area. So what my, what I'm thinking logically is we come and mitigate from this candlestick, sell off down to here, right? May get a little bounce, or this may be the area where we see us going higher. I can see us having a reaction from here to at least sell down to here and take out this liquidity, because you just need to be logical with what's going on. They've created equal lows, right before an institutional area, okay? They created equal highs right before an institutional area. Where's the money, right? So yeah, that's just what I'm analyzing on CAD-JPY. And ideally, personally, I think this is an ideal area for a buy to trade it up to this imbalance in institutional candlestick, last up candle before the down move. Whether that happens or not is a different story. But that's what I'm seeing for CAD-JPY. So I'll leave it there, guys. And yeah, I hope you all had some breakthroughs. Question, Jenna, what is your personal confirmation checklist? My 4 W's. Plus Fibonacci for entry areas to help identify, Wyckoff if it's there. Honestly, it's not a confirmation that I have to have to enter a trade. Structure is your biggest thing, with confluence of smart money concepts as well. And yeah, so that's that on that, my friends. Yeah, Mohammed, I'll hand it back to you. Thank you for having me. Hope you all had some breakthroughs. Thanks for jumping on, guys. I feel I didn't go too fast.
Yo, thank you so much for that. It had taken me a while to basically hop back on because of the amount of participants on the call right now. Guys, the chat box is open. Show some love for Zach and for Jenna for just dropping that mad amount of value. Of course, they did not have to do this at all. For them, it's early in the morning. They've literally just woken up just to do this call for us. So thank you so much, Zach and Jenna, my favorite Go Live educator and my favorite Trader House mentor, both on one call. I've got goosebumps right now. Yes, Jenna, you are a beast indeed. Let's see that chat blowing up, guys. I love it. I
don't know if Zach wanted to touch on what I was saying about Wyckoff. He might have a better way of explaining it, but he may or may not.
I did ask him if he wants to hop back on, and he replied in the negative, but I'll ask him to unmute. If he wants to, he can unmute himself.
Go.
He had an extra.
Yeah.
We see here Mr. Studio Pips for Go Live Educator. Let's make it happen.
Oh my gosh, Mr. Studio.
We need both you and Jenna as Go Live educators.
Yeah, we should have a channel together, ain't it, Jenna? What are you
Yeah.
saying about that? That'd be mad. But
I
yeah,
love it. What was the question?
Oh, I was just saying, when people were talking about Wyckoff being a confirmation, not a confirmation, and how I touched on that, I didn't know if you wanted to elaborate on that, or maybe you might explain it better, but that was my explanation.
Like I guess the simple way to put it is it's everywhere. Even when you don't feel like, it looks like a schematic, chances are it's still probably there. It's not a confirmation. It's a philosophy. It's not a bias. It's not a theory. It's nothing of the sort. It's how the markets move. They move in accordance with, not Wyckoff itself, just because like that's just pretty much the guy who more or less leaked the information from, NYSE. But at the same time, it's just more or less, it just shows you more like how it moves, why it moves, and certain areas of like interest points when you can start to gather information according to your directional bias, like using smart money confirmations, smart money concepts within that, within the structure of either an accumulation or a distribution within that trading range. So yeah, it's just a philosophy. It's just how it does. It's just how it happens. So yeah.
Hopefully that made you guys feel better with not being able to maybe see it every time you're on the charts.
Mr. Wyckoff himself has spoken. Love it. Yeah, so someone in the chat box has asked if you can list a smart money confirmation. So for those of you who haven't been on bullishrevolution.com, Zach has got his personal checklist on there with all the confirmations in accordance to smart money and Wyckoff top down and everything. So I'll drop the link in the chat right now. Everyone can just basically hop onto there and it's all available on there. Is the course coming back? Zach, that's for you to answer.
It's coming back. It's coming back. It's just going to be completely different. It took a little bit longer. Just had to do a few things in regards to, just, I guess, for lack of better words, legalities and everything. So we'll be, everything will be changing, website and everything.
Can't wait for it, man. Mad nuggets on that website. Mohammed is my confirmation. Nah, bro, my confirmation is Zach on Go Live. He goes live at 10 p.m. on UK time, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? So, so that's basically the times when Zach goes live. Everyone should be hopping on them lives. Everyone should show love to Zach and to Jenna on their Instagram stories. But that's all from me. Zach or Jenna, do you wish to speak about anything else before we end this call?
No, other than focus on your trading psychology. Psychology. That's all I'll end with.
Perfect. And the psychology, mindset, that's all key in it. And then the skill set is comes after. So 100% that is a big player in the market. But guys, thank you all for attending. And once again, thank you to Zach and to Jenna for actually hopping on here and dropping those mad nuggets. Hopefully everyone's getting value